Welcome one and all to my very own Super Smash Bros. 4 character prediction list and reasons video thing, whatever you want to call it. For a while now, I've been pretty quiet about Smash news on this channel. In fact, this is my first video on the topic of Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U. Yeah, it took me this long to actually make a video about it. But I was just biding my time to see how things turned out with all the leaks that have been surfacing lately and seeing just what was fact and what was fiction while gathering info to back my claims up. It may have taken me over a month to get this ready, but I think it was worth it. Regardless, let's begin with the final 3 potentially leaked characters from said Gamatsu leak. You know, all this talk of leaks is making me think that my sink has a leak in it. But before I actually start this discussion of character predictions, I want to direct your attention to this character select screen that I made in Photoshop. Kinda empty, isn't it? Don't worry, we'll fill it in as we go. To start things off, let's put in the characters that have already been confirmed as playable. First off, we've got Mario, who is pretty much the face of Nintendo. It wouldn't be Smash Brothers without him. Don't deny it. Since 2013 was the year of Luigi, we got Luigi revealed way earlier than we tend to. I think he was one of the final characters revealed for Brawl, actually. But anyway, next we've got Princess Peach and the very same Koopa who always kidnaps her, Bowser. And he's looking even more menacing than before. And that's without Giga Bowser. Now it's time for a newcomer. Rosalina and Luma have launched into battle. And it looks like their tag team combat is top notch. Everyone knew that Donkey Kong was in no danger of leaving Smash Brothers. And he's back with his little buddy Diddy Kong. It may have taken him a while, but Yoshi has rolled into the battle. Pikachu, being the mascot of the Pokemon franchise, obviously makes a return. I was actually surprised to see Lucario return to Smash, though. I wasn't expecting that at all. And what was even less expected was how Charizard fired things up. No longer is he attached to a trainer and 2 other playstyles. Charizard is its own character now. This brings me to the first of the leaked characters. A Pokemon from X and Y made a splash. Greninja is in the game. Now remember, this game was being developed at least a year prior to X and Y being released, so maybe they didn't settle on Greninja's name yet at that point. Heck, we didn't even know what it was called at that point, so neither would the person who tipped off the original poster of the Gamatsu leak. Which would explain the ambiguity, although it's no puzzle that Link would solve his way into Smash again. And with him is Princess Zelda. When there was doubts about her returning, Sheik appeared on the scene with some new moves. Albeit, one of them has a very bizarre name. Bouncing Fish. That is a very weird name. Anyway, moving on. Thanks to the recent release of Wind Waker HD, Toon Link is relevant once more. It's time for everyone's favorite bounty hunter, Samus, as she blasts her way into Smash yet again. And Sakurai was a major troll when it came to Zero Suit Samus returning, but hey, she zeroed into the fight as her own standalone character. At this point, Marth is definitely a mainstay character by now, and I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Ike, however, might be a special case here, seeing as he starred in 2 Fire Emblem games with different physical builds. In Brawl, he was based on his appearance in Path of Radiance, and this time around he's based on his design from Radiant Dawn. It only makes sense that he utilizes that second build in this game. Plus, it now looks more believable for him to lug around that giant sword with those larger muscles. He was scrawny in Brawl. And now for a character that, prior to the reveal last year, you'd probably say, "You're crazy, man. She'd never make it in." the most what the crud character, the Wii Fit Trainer weighs in. Now for one that the fan base has pretty much turned into a serial killer for some reason, the Villager has come to town. When I think about it, it kind of makes sense actually, considering that Animal Crossing has been getting more and more presence in the Smash Bros. Games ever since Melee. For those unaware, Animal Crossing was hinted at as a future release in Melee in the form of trophies for Mr. Rossetti and KK Slider. In Brawl, we had a stage based on Animal Crossing in the form of Smashville, and apparently one of the villagers' alternate costumes in this game watched on from the sidelines in Brawl. He's been studying the opponents all this time. Also, Mr. Rossetti was an assist trophy in Brawl. This next one kinda divided the fans prior to their reveal, and sorta still does even now. But hey, you can fight! Anyone can fight! With the Mii Fighters against Nintendo's best. Now, since Sakurai is making the game, and he's the creator of Kirby, it only makes sense for Kirby to return. Also, King Dedede makes another appearance as a playable character, although I wonder if his final smash is going to be altered into something new, or is his dance going to contain only Gordos? Or will this be the only time he summons Wild D's and Wild Doos? Oh well, that's just a small nitpick. But speaking of small nitpicks, the Pikmin and Olimar will be returning thanks to Pikmin 3 having been released on the Wii U. Of the original 12, Fox is pretty popular, and it would make sense that he returned as well. Not to mention, there's also a new Star Fox game currently in the works. Also, the fastest thing alive zooms on in for a rematch. Sonic is back! Our next newcomer was also part of the infamous Gematsu leak, is none other than the man who took Tyson and gave Mr. Dream nightmares. Little Mac punches in after being promoted from an assist trophy to a playable character. Thanks to the massive success of Kid Icarus Uprising, Pit returns to the battlefield and is sporting some new weapons in his moveset, like the upper dash arm. And when there are angels, a goddess isn't too far away, because Palutena alights the battlefield as another character that the Gematsu leak reported on, and had some 3DS screenshots long before her official reveal at E3. And now it's time for the Super Fighting Robot, Mega Man! Many fans rejoiced at the sight of classic Mega Man appearing in Smash Bros. When I first saw that trailer, I thought it was the Mega Man from Legends, just because of the hair. At least until the helmet went on and the eyes lit up. But hey, I'm glad he's in the game regardless. Pac-Man hungers for battle, and we were all hungering for his confirmation ever since it was revealed that Namco was working on the game as well. Now we have 4 of gaming's most popular and iconic characters in one game. Now all that's left is for Mario and Sonic to actually have a platforming crossover game that isn't at the Olympics. So now, that leaves us with a whopping 33 playable characters. And yet this roster is still missing 21 characters. Let's go over who will be returning and who might be playable for the first time ever in Smash. Oh, whoa. Before I do that, though, I almost forgot these 3 that got introduced into the game actually earlier this week. First off is Chrom, who was revealed by the Gematsu leak, only to turn out to be part of a final Smash. But hey, he's in the game as part of a playable character. That counts for something, right? And the Gematsu leak didn't say that they would all be appearing as characters, it just said that they would appear in the game. So I still count that as another one chalked up for that leak. But instead, we got two new Fire Emblem characters in the form of Lucina and Robin. I have no idea who those two are, aside from Lucina pulling some time travel hijinks to fight alongside Chrom or something in the Fire Emblem Awakening game. Also, I'm kind of wondering how many people will make Batman Mii's just so they could use it in a team battle with Robin. Just so that they could have the dynamic duo in Smash Brothers. I might do that, actually, myself. Now that I think about it, it would be too easy to just pass up on. Also, Captain Falcon is back and ready to Falcon punch people once more. And is it just me, or does he seem kind of evil this time around? If not that, then he may look pissed off that he hasn't had a game of his own since the GameCube days. Now then, that does it for all the currently confirmed characters. Now, let's look at the potential characters and the returning veterans that haven't been confirmed yet. Shulk and the Chorusmen have a decent chance of appearing in the new Smash Bros. Thanks to the Gamatsu leak being 8 for 11 so far, and by technicality, 9 out of 11 due to Chrom's status as part of Robin's final Smash. After all, he predicted some pretty outrageous characters that wound up in the game, such as the Wii Fit Trainer, the Villager, Mega Man, Mii Fighters, Little Mac, and a Pokemon from X and Y, which turned out to be Greninja. All 6 of those came to be. And these two new fighter possibilities seem very likely, especially since the same leaker predicted them as well. That said, I have no idea what either of these two characters are like, having never played Rhythm Heaven or Xenoblade. So I have no opinions on these two whatsoever, and have no clue as to what their movesets could entail. The closest that I can think of is for the Chorusmen. I think they may play similarly to the Ice Climbers, only with 2 AI characters following the player and mimicking your movements. They may have some musical themes to their attacks and specials, but highly different from what Jigglypuff did with Sing. But who knows, this is Sakurai we're talking about. He was able to give Captain Falcon a vast moveset, and that's for a character who, prior to Smash, never left his car. His moveset was completely custom made. Also, when I first heard of this leak and saw Shulk on it, my first thought was, Shulk? Is that some sort of strange short way of saying She-Hulk? Oh, how wrong I was. Sakurai has confirmed that the original 12 will always be in the game. And he also stated that it just wouldn't be Smash without them. So it's just a matter of time before Ness and Jigglypuff make their return. Also, Mr. Game & Watch is pretty much confirmed thanks to his cameo appearance in Pac-Man's reveal trailer, as well as having been in both Melee and Brawl. Also, Mr. Game & Watch is one of the grandfathers of gaming. He's got way too much history with Nintendo for them to just drop him from the roster. He's got more seniority than even Mario himself, even if it's by just a year. But hey, you got a lot done in that year. Now that Jigglypuff is a fairy type, I think it would be interesting if they changed its final smash from Puff-Up to Dazzling Gleam. Yeah. Personally, I prefer it to be Moonblast, but Jigglypuff is incapable of learning that move for some reason. I think it's probably one of the very few fairy-type Pokemon that can't learn that move, which is pretty much the signature attack for a fairy-type. There are 3 things I want to see changed about Captain Falcon. The first is actually part of his custom moveset. Elemental Falcon Punches. The regular Falcon Punch is fire-based. What if the alternate options were to make the Falcon Punch ice-based for one variant and electric-based for the other variant? The electric Falcon Punch could even deal minor damage to opponents as it's about to be set in motion. If you're lucky, the Ice Falcon Punch could even freeze enemies like a freezy item does when at high percent. The second change I'd like to see, but I think is going to be unlikely, is Trails of Flames following his attacks from his regular moves, for a bit more range and possible fire damage to enemies. And the final change is to his final smash. You know what I mean. The Galactic Falcon Punch.
Captain Falcon!
Now for some returning characters that I'm predicting to, well, return. First and foremost is Meta Knight. Yeah, I know, he's incredibly broken in Brawl, but it wouldn't make much sense for the creator of Kirby to have just Kirby and DDD without Meta Knight. Those three play off of each other thematically to a T. That and Sakurai seems to be doing his best to balance out all the characters this time around, so Meta Knight might not be as broken this time around. Hopefully, considering he was one of my mains in Brawl. What can I say? I like fast characters that hit hard and get good airtime. Next up to return is the King of the Evil himself, Ganondorf. Ever since Princess Zelda was brought into the fray in Melee, Ganondorf has been not too far behind. Since Melee, the full Triforce has been represented, albeit with two representatives of the Triforce of Courage, thanks to Young Link and Toon Link in Melee and Brawl respectively. But the point I'm trying to make is that Ganondorf has to be in it. The only thing I would want to see different about Ganondorf is that they give him his sword. Heck, they could even base him on his Wind Waker design, since that's technically his most recent design thanks to Wind Waker HD. And he'd be able to wield twin swords. I mean, we don't have any characters that utilize two swords at once, do we? Well, okay, yeah, but there's every guy that has a sword when he picks up the beam sword, but I mean, as part of his default moveset. But the main reason why I bring up his Wind Waker design is because Ganondorf's design in Smash has so far always been reflective of his most recent appearance in the Zelda games. In Melee, Ganondorf was based on his Ocarina of Time design, because that was the most recent incarnation of Ganondorf at the time. And in Brawl, Ganondorf was based on his Twilight Princess design because, once again, it was his most recent incarnation at the time. Since Wind Waker HD came out recently, Ganondorf's Wind Waker design is currently the most recent design and most likely the design that he will be based on. Another thing that I'd like to see is him use the energy orb that you play tennis with as his neutral special move. He would be able to charge it up much like Samus's Power Beam, only above its head, and when it's fully charged, Ganon chucks it at opponents for massive damage. A nice little detail about this move is that opponents can deflect it for double damage, but Ganon can also deflect it back for even more damage. This move can be deflected at least 5 times before the energy ball explodes in whomever's face for 5 times the initial damage for the charged attack, which could easily result in a one-hit KO. I highly doubt that Ganondorf would be cut, especially now that I've learned that Sakurai himself mains Ganondorf. it would be weird of him to remove his own main. But this is Sakurai we're talking about. There's no predicting him, as I've stated before. Next up is R.O.B. I'm not entirely confident that R.O.B will return, but it is a good possibility that he could return. And for the sake of having a character with a unique playstyle, which is something that Sakurai is striving for in this game, he'll be staying in this roster. After all, Super Smash Bros. Is a celebration of Nintendo's history, and like it or not, R.O.B was a major part of Nintendo's history. Without R.O.B, gaming today might not even exist as it does, or even at all. R.O.B saved the video gaming industry from the video game crash of 1983. That's pretty much the only reason I can think of for R.O.B to return. But if any first-party characters from Brawl were to get the axe, it might be R.O.B. Although, knowing Sakurai and his unpredictability, R.O.B might return, and quite frankly, I wouldn't mind too much. I mean, he does have a unique playstyle and moveset, and he does have his historical significance. But that history is becoming less and less known as the years go by. On the topic of first-party characters that may get the axe, Lucas might be getting cut from the roster. I mean, no offense to fans of Mother 3, but with the inclusion of custom movesets, Ness may be getting Lucas's psychic powers as part of his extended moveset. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Ness inherited Lucas's rope snake tether grab. Also, both Ness and Lucas had the exact same Final Smash, PK Starstorm. Granted, it always sounded to me like one of them was saying PK Cosmos instead of Starstorm, but that might just be me. Also, you could probably replace Ness's up smash with Lucas's up smash, which was amazingly powerful. In his place, ironically, I think Wario will be returning. I'm only saying that it would be ironic because of Wario's relation with Lucas in Subspace, and I'll leave it at that. On to the character himself. I would love to see that guy return. I'm partially biased towards him though due to a personal history with him that I'll get into at a later date, but he has to fart again. That was just freaking hilarious. I'm just laughing thinking about it. Okay, calm down, calm down. Still got a lot more to go through. Pokemon have always been a big part of Smash Brothers, and we've pretty much got 5 of them in this game. So why not follow suit from Brawl and have a full team of 6? I know that technically Brawl had 4 Pokemon characters with Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Lucario, and the Pokemon Trainer. However, Pokemon Trainer was 3 characters in 1, Ivysaur, Squirtle, and Charizard. Now, I'm not saying that the Pokemon Trainer is returning, thanks to Charizard being his own character now. What I'm trying to say is that I think that Mewtwo may have a good chance of returning to the fight. Now, I'm sure that you've heard your fair share of theories and speculation about how or why Mewtwo can be in the game, but I'd like to throw in my own take on it with a bit of my own logic thrown into the mix. Mewtwo is not only one of the most popular Pokemon in the franchise, next to Pikachu and Charizard of course, he's also very relevant thanks to having gotten 2 Mega Evolutions in X and Y, along with being found in the post-game of X and Y as well, as being the poster boy, girl, test tube baby thing of Mega Evolution due to having been the first Pokemon revealed to have a Mega Evolution. Let's not forget his historical importance to the Pokemon franchise as a whole either, originally being the most powerful Pokemon of all. And he was also the star of the very first Pokemon movie. Let's not forget that too. I think that helped out a bit as well. Now that Mewtwo has access to Mega Evolutions, he has reclaimed that title from Pokemon like Arceus. So technically, Mewtwo is now more powerful than the god of the Pokemon world. And it doesn't matter which Mega Mewtwo you use, they're both equally powerful. I just think that Mega Mewtwo Y is more likely to become Mewtwo's final smash rather than Mega Mewtwo X, due to it being more recognizable and it's been marketed more than Mega Mewtwo X has. Also, the argument of having both Lucario and Mewtwo being in the same game being redundant is a load of baloney. Here's some side-by-side footage showing them use all their moves. Did you see that? The only move that those two shared was their neutral special. And even that is different enough to justify having them both. The difference is that Mewtwo's Shadow Ball moves in a zigzag pattern, while Lucario's Aura Sphere goes straight. Plus, it would be like saying that Samus and Lucario are too similar due to them both having a projectile energy ball that they can charge for more power. It's just silly. Also, Lucario used to do this. Watch the power. On the topic of characters that are in danger of getting the axe, I think Snake is the biggest target of them all. The only reason that Snake was even in Brawl in the first place was because he had a reservation since the final days of development for Melee. From what I've heard, Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear and Snake, personally requested for Snake to be included into Melee, but Sakurai informed him that the game was too far into development for any more characters to be included. But he promised that Snake would be included in the next installment, and that was why Snake was the first of the third-party characters revealed for Brawl and his inclusion in the game in the first place. Which brings me to my next point. Snake may have been a one-and-done deal, mostly because the Metal Gear franchise has been going through decreasing amounts of significance on Nintendo platforms due to the series being on all but Nintendo consoles lately. But Kojima was asked about Snake's possible inclusion in Smash 4, and he said he's clueless about that, which may mean that either A, Snake is not returning and someone else will take his place, or B, Kojima is pulling a Sakurai, and Snake is returning and is just feigning ignorance, so that he can keep people speculating and potentially build up hype for the game. Not like we need any help with that, now am I right?